everyone. Welcome to Mentors for IAS. This is a unique initiative in the field of IAS mentoring. We are going to hold your hands throughout the examination process, that is for prelims, mains, and interview. As part of that, we are conducting certain sessions for this year's mains as part of our mains mentoring program for 2024. In that, we have done certain sessions on answer writing. Now we are doing few sessions on essay also. So as part of that, in this essay, I'm going to tell you how important is the introduction. So introduction is the opening paragraph or the first paragraph for any writing. So generally, when you take an essay, we have to sustain for 1,200 words, around 10-12 paragraphs. So in that, the first paragraph is invariably is your introduction. So how the introduction has to be? Many people fail to write good introduction because they don't know what is introduction. So they think that it is opening of a subject, opening of a subject. So if it is asked about, let's say, education, if the question or if the topic is on education, people end up in writing the definition of education. As I told in the previous videos, when we ask about democracy, people start with Abraham Lincoln. When we start with social justice, people will write John Rawls. Then when we talk about constitution, they will start with Ambedkar. So many mundane beginnings are there. So these beginnings, when you are taking the keyword of the essay, I'm trying to explain that one in a very descriptive manner or in a textbookish manner. That will be a very good opening paragraph of the body. Here, opening the body or starting the body is different from starting the entire essay. When you take the essay, first is introduction, then the body, then the conclusion. So these paragraphs, which will enter in the proper discussion of the matter, they are the first paragraphs of the body, not the introduction. So introduction here should be something which makes the evaluator very much interested and enthusiastic to read your essay, because the evaluator has to sustain for another 12-15 minutes because he has to read around those 10-12 pages of yours. So rather than going for these mundane, like the opening paragraphs, you have to go with different aspects. So one introduction can be started with a quote, but definitely it has to be relevant with the topic. At least one or the other keyword of the topic should be addressed by this quote. So quote, you can remember any types of quotes from our freedom movement or from the philosophers or from the social religious reformers, or if you have some quote which is very good, of which you don't know the author, you can write that quote and without writing who has written it, or you can write unknown or anonymous. If you can write that, so that will be a very good beginning, but don't write the quote and live like that. You have to explain about that quote and you have to link with the topic very much. And this can be a 5-6 lines beginning. Okay, this is how we have to begin the quote. It's an anecdote. Anecdote, yeah, bring some anecdote which is relevant to this topic and start with that again, around 7-8 lines in that anecdote. Or you can write a story on your own which is very much relevant to this topic. So this is how we are going to make our this thing very interested. And whatever that you write in this introduction, it is not serious. It is not serious, like the exposure to the topic. It has to be very light. It has to be very light, with which the evaluator has to generate the interest. If it is very serious, like what I would say, the research paper or something, then the evaluator will get bored. So you have to ease him, because easily that person has to enter your paper. So that is why you make the moment very light yet effective. I am telling effective. So effectiveness is not associated with only the serious note or the seriousness of it. Even making the situation very light and making someone understand like what exactly is the topic, so that will become very good introduction. Even a story, you can do a storytelling or a fiction. Yeah, part of, maybe you have read some fiction, you take a incident from there and try to explain this topic, or refer to any movie, be it Indian movie or a foreign movie, try to refer it, or mythological story or something. So somehow you try to connect to it. And even a conversation or a poem, conversation like two people are conversing with respect to something which is relevant to this topic, or even a poem, and these can be created inside the examination hall also. Even this story, these can be created inside the examination hall. There is no bar and nobody will cut your marks. But we have to remember that this has to be very relevant. Then in the first part of your body or first paragraph of your body, you begin with the very serious things. So last thing with respect to introduction, when you are writing the conclusion, kindly remember your introduction. While you are writing a conclusion, you make a reference to your introduction. Maybe if you have started with a quote, you end with a different quote or a relevant quote. Even anecdote, give some climax to that one. Even for a story, give a logical end. Even for a fiction, you make sense of that fiction even at the very end, and you try to close the conversation or extend the poem in the conclusion. So this is how you have to connect the introduction in the conclusion, because at the end the evaluator will feel that the introduction from the very first word to the last word of the conclusion, it's all intact. So this person looks towards the completion, and this person looks towards the proper relevance. So that is how you are going to get more marks. So these are the nuances of essay that we are trying to explain you. So such things will be discussed as part of our strategy, even the content related things in our mains mentorship program. Thank you very much.